Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Ravvy of Ravvy Plays Games, and today we are taking a look at the demo version of Beyond the Map. Beyond the Map is a survival ARPG set in a procedurally generated fantasy world. In this video, we will look at my first few gameplay days where I was exploring, gathering, crafting gear, weapons, and consumables, and getting more and more successful in combat. I also made progress building up my base camp with additional craft stations. Let's start off with a look at character creation, and then we'll dive into day one. Beyond the Map doesn't really have classes, but you have come to the island with a past. If you were once a Marine, you won't drop your weapons on death and food will last longer. If you were a pirate, you'll get bigger stacks in inventory and you can spot treasure from further away. If you were a scholar, equipment and tools will last longer and discoveries will grant some experience. Another benefit of your history is a special skill on a 20-minute cooldown. Scholars can teleporting out of a dungeon or to any discovered location within 500 meters. Pirates have increased movement speed for 10 seconds, and the skill cooldown reduces by 2 seconds every time they loot an item. Marines restore 50% of their missing health every second for 5 seconds. I like to explore, gather, and then bring back my loot to craft, so I went with Scholar to get that teleport option. You have a choice of a feminine or masculine presenting form. I chose the female form. Then I set my face, skin, my hairstyle, my hair color. I did not have the option of a beard with the feminine form, so if you are a beard lover, you'll have to choose the masculine presenting form. Then I set my name and got ready to head out on my adventure. Here we go. But before we get anywhere, we find out that worlds are separate from characters. You can play in any world with any character. This game is set to have online co-op, so that could function something like it works in Enshrouded, which I appreciate. I like that you're able to see the world seed in the world list. That's also pretty cool. Alright, day one, we start stranded on a beach. Don't have anything. My first instinct, as always, picking up everything in sight. The game does have a tutorial available. Up in the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the instructions. I found the tutorial to be very thorough and very helpful. It walked me through all of the different UI pages that I would need to access. It told me how to find things, how to interact with things, how to craft, how to gather. Pretty much everything that I needed to know to be successful in the game. The minimap is super helpful. It indicates the locations of resources around you. I had a blast running around, gathering all the little dots that I could see on the minimap, collecting a lot of wood, but I finally paused my gathering in order to proceed with the next step of the tutorial, which was to build the workbench and start my base camp. The workbench enabled me to begin crafting some basic gear for myself, as well as some weapons and tools. I was very excited to find bow and arrow available right out the gate, as that is generally one of my preferred weapons for combat in just about any game. I crafted a spear and bow and arrows and headed out to find some undead along the beach. I had just come off of playing a different game with a different set of controls, so it did take me a little bit to get used to using my left mouse button for my melee weapon and the right mouse button to control my bow and arrow, but once I got the hang of it, combat started going a lot more smoothly. The tutorial had sent me out to gather some flint in order to craft a flint skinning knife. However, I accidentally used all of the flint that I had on a flint dagger instead. Oops. This just meant I needed to head back out to find some more flint. I guess it's a good thing that I really enjoy gathering and exploring. I wasn't having luck finding any flint up in the woods. Just reminders that I needed to get a skinning knife. So I made my way back out to the shore where I had previously found some flint. I was kind of focused on finding flint and didn't really pay enough attention to my surroundings, and I ended up biting off a little bit more than I could chew when it came to the number of enemies and my current level of coordination with the combat mechanics and button presses. I did get a pro tip: build a bed to change your revive point. Thanks, game. What that means is I rezzed back at the original spawn point rather than at my base. Not too big a deal at the time, because at that point they were pretty close together. I made my way back to my dropped loot, re-equipped everything automatically, which was lovely, and re-engaged the enemy with a newfound level of confidence. I added some additional workstations to my base camp, enabling me to craft better armor and weapons, as well as some food. Now equipped with better gear, weapons, and already having reached level 4, I felt like that was a pretty good amount of progress along the tutorial and getting started in the game for my first gameplay day. Because now we have arrived at the morning of day 2. I spent day 2 continuing to work my way through the tutorial. At this point, I had unlocked working on finding ore and adding some additional craft stations to my camp. The big additions to base camp for the day were the charcoal kiln and the primitive furnace for smelting ore. While I waited for the furnace to do its thing with the ore, I headed over to the campfire to spend a little time perfecting my cooking skills. There's nothing quite like a perfectly seared piece of wolf meat. Once I had some smelted ore and an anvil, I was able to craft myself a shiny new bronze weapon. The different armor sets have different set bonuses, so I spent some time trying to determine whether I wanted to go with all bronze, all leather, or some sort of mix. I didn't really come up with an answer. I figured I would just experiment and see what worked best for me. After taking my new weapon out for a spin and doing a bit more gathering, I determined that I really needed one of the most important upgrades to my base camp: a stash. Essentially a chest to put all of my loot in, because my bags were not going to be able to keep up. I had been so busy on the second game day running around exploring, gathering, working on crafting, that I did not realize I had worked through the night, essentially, I guess for a game day, and we were already at day 3. I spent day 3 continuing to explore, sometimes with some accidents, but there is a nice feature in the game where it will auto-mark your death locations so you can go get your loot. You can then right-click on those death locations when you no longer need the marker on the map. I did leave one marker up because even though I had recovered my loot, there were several mobs around there that I was not yet ready to fight, so I did not want to accidentally head back there. Day 3 ended with a strong round of combat against undead on the beach, as well as looking for some ore. And just like that, it was the morning of day 4. As the end of day 4 approached, I realized I hadn't yet tried out the special ability that came along with my character choice, so I decided to check out the teleport. Just takes a little bit to cast, and then you're in another place. I didn't necessarily need it right now, but I wanted to know how it worked, and I'm sure that that will come in handy in the future. This has been a first look at the demo version of Beyond the Map. I've had a great time playing the game, and I can easily picture myself playing a fair amount of hours of this game in the future. Thanks to the procedurally generated worlds, the exploration opportunities in this game are very intriguing to me. The interface is simple and easy to understand. The tutorial really helps the player get started. Combat is simple enough to figure out and master fairly easily. Overall, I just think this is a really great start to a game, and I'm very excited to see the full game at its release. You'll find the link for the game down in the video description below. Be sure to give it a play and let me know in the comment section what your favorite part of the demo was. And don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons to let me know you'd like to see more of my first look content. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, take care of yourself, be well. Bye for now, from Ravvy at Ravvy Plays Games. See you soon.